Man, I can't believe I get to witness this in my lifetime. Welcome back to the web's first must-see comic nerd culture show. Welcome to Comic Universe, guys. I'm one of your hosts, as always, C-Dubs. And as you guys can see, I'm riding solo on this video. Guys, first and foremost, there may be some spoilers here. I'm going to try to do my best to give a short review of Avengers Endgame, and I don't know what I'm going to say or how I'm going to say it, because I've already tried to record this video 4 times, and it's just so big, so powerful, so impactful that it's hard for me to get everything I want to get off my chest. So I'm just gonna, instead of just kind of going breakdown, I don't want to give a breakdown of the film. You should go see it, do whatever it takes, like the movie says. And we did have initially want to do all 3 of us here on the team, Dr. J, myself, and DPZ, all wanted to do a live stream with you guys, just so that we can review it, talk about it with you guys. And we may still do that if you guys want that. So let us know in the comments below if you want us all to do that live stream. But unfortunately, due to time restraints and scheduling, as well as some of us not being able to see the movie yet, it just was not able to happen this weekend. I've seen it twice, and so I kind of have a good idea of what I want to say, but I don't want this video to go too long. I could literally break down scene by scene, but that's not the point. I just want to give you the good, the bad, and the badass. And just so you know, again, there may be some spoiler alerts. So the good, man, the acting. Everyone is on point, just as you expect. The humor is really well done. It's not overdone in some areas. You know, you got some characters that are really goofy. You know, believe it or not, Professor Hulk, yes, Professor Hulk, is in this movie. He may be a little too goofy at times, in my opinion. We don't get enough of Hulk out of Professor Hulk, but he was good. Of course, Scott Lang, you expect the comedy from him, and it was done really well there. Rocket gives us a little bit of comedy as well, really done good. And believe it or not, Don Cheadle, but his is more like smart aleck, humorous. Like, I really connected with Don Cheadle in this film. He said a lot of things that I would have said, especially to Captain Marvel, but hey, that's just, we all know how I feel about that one. But no, it was really well done, and they actually do handle Captain Marvel really well. She's really more palatable in this film, post her own film. And to anyone who was like, oh, they trying to put more makeup on her, make her more relatable, blah. This movie was filmed first prior to Captain Marvel, so this was their original vision of her. That director did what he did with that film, and I don't think that's a good film, and I think it's more the actor's fault than not the actor, more the director's fault on how bad that film was, because again, she showed she was a little more palatable in this film, so it's not all Brie Larson's fault, even though not a fan. And she still comes off really bitchy at times, but I don't want to jump on that. If you like her, great, awesome. If you like the other movie, Captain Marvel, that's great, awesome. Like I said, to each their own, always on this channel, guys. I don't judge you, but we can, if you ever want to talk about what's good and bad between them, I'm always here, guys. But moving forward, you know, again, the humor, the acting, the action, the epicness of this movie. There has never been another movie, another film franchise this epic. Not Titanic, not Avatar, not none of the Mission Impossibles, not Star Wars, Star Trek, Fast and the Furious, Lord of the Rings, Hobbit, The Matrix, nothing from the DCEU or whatever they want to call themselves, nothing in the Terminator franchise, nothing in the Alien or Predator franchise, nothing has ever been this epic. I don't care what anyone tells you. If they're telling you differently, they're lying to themselves, and now they're lying to you. Because this movie blew my mind. I cried. It was emotional. Man, there were times I was crying. There was no reason to cry. And I don't want to say cry. I was welling up that I was like, man, I can't believe I'm sitting watching this movie. These characters and these films now, and these stories and the heroes, they've meant so much to me in my lifetime, as you guys can see. Sorry, there was a pop-up on my screen. As you guys can see, have meant so much to me in my lifetime, and has inspired me to get together with my friends and start this channel for you guys. And you know, it was just so emotional at times, and of course we all know there's going to be some losses in this film, and some of the losses that we get are so impactful, guys. You know, unfortunately, we get Black Widow. She passes away. She sacrifices herself for the Soul Stone. So impactful, blew my mind. I have some issues and questions on how it all worked out, the math in it all, but whatever. it was still so good. You know, the impactfulness of losing Clint's family, we saw it in his face, we saw what it did to him. We get to see the emotion when Star-Lord gets to see Gamora again for the first time, and the Gamora he actually gets to see is the past Gamora. Okay, so his Gamora is dead, is gone. This Gamora doesn't even know him. She was on Thanos' side 10 minutes earlier, you know, so it was absolutely heartbreaking to see that his love of his life is gone. Regardless of him wanting to call her a booty call or not, she was gone. Okay, we got to see, unfortunately, you know, Iron Man died. He gave up his life, saving the entire universe. Man, it was amazing. You know, Thanos going on a rant, I am inevitable. Well, I am Iron Man. Boom, snap. All of Thanos' army out of existence. We get to see Spider-Man come back and hug. Oh man, I'm about to cry now. Hug Iron Man and Tony, and then the two of them just embrace. It was so great. And the teamwork of the Avengers. Man, to be honest with you, if nothing else, the final 40-minute fight scene was unreal. I'm telling you guys, it was the most epic thing I've ever seen. You need to go see it. Let's move on to the bad, I guess. The bad, there are a few plot holes, especially when you're dealing with time travel. Sometimes it doesn't always add up. And sometimes things happen just for convenience. Like, for instance, Scott Lang gets out of the quantum realm thanks to Master Splinter. And by Master Splinter, I mean, lucky enough, a rat walked over the right button combinations. Otherwise, none of this would have ever happened. Again, I have a little bit of a question on Black Widow dying for the Soul Stone. You're supposed to sacrifice the thing you care for the most, you love the most. And I don't believe, though I do believe they care about each other, I don't think that Clint or Hawkeye, the person that he loves the most is Black Widow. Yes, they have a connection. They may even have a past or a history. But clearly he cared more about his family than he cared about her. But maybe since his family was snapped out of existence, she was next in line. That might be the only way. You know, how Captain Marvel found Iron Man in space, and they never really go over it. I mean, these are little minuscule things that if I'm picking and prodding. And really the only thing I fully would have changed in the film, there's a line, we find out Tony has a daughter in this film, in his family, and they have this little cute thing where she's like, I love you 3,000, okay, percent basically. And there's a little rant that he goes back to Pepper, and she's like, yeah, she loves me 3,000, you somewhere maybe the 600 to 900 area. So there's this little thing, and then at the end, after Tony dies, he of course put together a video package that it just in case he died, and in it he looks at everybody and goes, and I love you, talking to his daughter 3,000. And I get it, it's a callback to what happened before. That was their little thing. I think it just would have been a lot more cooler, a lot more impactful, and yes, even to some degree maybe even cheesier if he had said I love you infinity, especially since they're dealing with the Infinity Stones, and the reason why he was recording this because he knew he was going to help them retrieve the Infinity Stones. Plus with infinity being the most number, most of us, when it's like, I love you too, I love you more, I love you most, I'm sure you've done that with your loved ones or your significant others before. So by saying I love you infinity, it would be the way most of us would have done that. And I get it, maybe they didn't do it because some people would have took it as cheesy. Oh, you know, it some way said it in the film, but even though that wasn't this movie. But however, that would have been the only thing I would have changed. Tony would have said I love you infinity. I just think it would have meant more. That's probably, well, one other thing I would have changed that I didn't like in the movie. I'm a big fan of Tom Holland's Spider-Man. I'm just not a fan of some of the things they have him do. Again, the snap on how he died or was snapped away in Infinity War, I liked parts of it I did not like at all. And I don't want to go into it in this video, but same thing here. He was so awesome. He activated kill mode, started going ham, okay, on Thanos' troops, right? And you know, there was this one scene where he's trying to get the glove away and he's being bombarded by fire attack, and I get it, he's just a kid, but he starts to cry and he's like, oh my god, I don't want to die type of thing. And I'm just like, Spider-Man is supposed to be the greatest hero. Spider-Man, Marvel is your greatest hero. Treat him as such. part of what makes him so great is the fact that he's able to be so great at such a young age. With the least amount of experience, he was always so great. There's just too many times they try to make him seem how a real boy would be. And that may be good for some people, but for me, man, I like my Spider-Man proving why he's the greatest hero. He's not my favorite hero in Marvel, but he is their greatest hero. Come on, really, let's think about that. You know, so I just want them to portray him as such. And maybe moving forward, we'll get that. We won't get so many, I don't want to call them crybaby moments, but, you know, woe's me or crybaby moments. You know, again, it is what it is. It's just how I felt, but it didn't ruin the movie by any means. These are me nitpicking the shit out of this movie, okay, all of the bad. You know, and the only other thing I would have done is there were some moments, some imagery too that maybe should have been drawn out a little more just to make them a little more impactful. Like when we get to see the world 5 years later, we see all these ships docked up against the Statue of Liberty, the Statue of Liberty. Knowing what the Statue of Liberty, what it's a symbol for, how impactful that all these refugees are coming to Liberty, trying to seek help, or, you know, to be avenged by the Avengers, coming to America. Maybe they were all Americans, I don't know, but we didn't get any. It just would have been so impactful to resonate with that a little more. You know, some of the deaths, they were as great as they were and as impactful as they were. There are little things, you know, it's so easy for me in hindsight to be like, well, I would have done this, well, I would have done that. You know, when Cap passes away, yes, he has a moment with Pepper Potts. He has a moment with Spider-Man, but he should have had a moment with Cap. We get to see Cap and Thor in the distance, kind of like proud of him, sad. But it just would have been better because there's even friction in the beginning of this movie with them. It would have been good for them to just, especially since in the first Avengers, where he basically accuses Iron Man of just being a selfish fool that would never lay his life on the line for anybody. So it would have just been cool to have earned beyond Cap's respect here. But we don't get that. So again, it's just me nitpicking the shit out of this film. On to the badass, man. The final fight scene alone is worth this movie. I would pay $100 to go see that again. That was amazing. Greatest fight scene I've ever seen. Apparently, I don't know if this is true. I have to go see it again. And if you've seen it and you can tell me exactly what part, if you look carefully in the onslaught of Thanos' forces and the Avengers, if you will, when all of the heroes come to help from Wakanda and all the sorcerers and whatnot, apparently Howard the Duck is in there somewhere. And it's not just a call out to Howard being featured in one of the previous Guardians of the Galaxies, but also Howard being technically, I think it's Marvel's very first movie, but being one of theirs. So I think that's kind of cool that he's there, if he's there. But I don't know, I didn't see him, so I can't confirm that. We get to see Wanda beat the shit out of Thanos. We get to see the Trinity beat the shit out of Thanos. We get to see Thanos beat the shit out of everyone. We get to see Thanos and Miss Marvel, or Captain Marvel, go at it. I guess it is true, and I hate to say this, she does seem, now granted, Thor is out of shape currently in this film. Okay, because he was dealing with the loss and not being able to have gotten the stones back from Thanos after killing him in the beginning half of the film, which, yes, they do kill Thanos in the beginning half of the film. They're fighting Thanos. This is the future version of Thanos when they fight him at the end, or should I say the past version of Thanos in the end. So he doesn't have the glove, he doesn't have the Power Stone. So Thor was able to put up a fight to him with that glove, where she is fighting him without it. And Thor is out of shape, so maybe that's why Thor isn't this much of a combatant for, you know, Thanos in this. But, you know, there's a scene where he headbutts her and she just doesn't even flinch. Like, her head doesn't even go back. And I was just like, oh god, here we go. But then he takes out the Power Stone from his unheld hand and he bops her one and she goes flying. So at least she wasn't more powerful than the Infinity Stones, even though she gets her power from the Infinity Stones than the Infinity Stones. So that was really cool. I'm very grateful for that they at least showed her to have some sort of weakness, because that is kind of my biggest beef with the character. She's more Superman than Superman is at this point inside the MCU. But we get to see that she can take some damage, so that was kind of cool. Man, we get to see, you know, everyone from Wakanda come in. We get to see Black Panther do his thing, and it was so awesome. Everyone who was everyone, for the most part, shows back up in this film. It was just absolutely amazing. Blew my mind. Like, everyone gets at least a few seconds to shine. We get to see I wish it would have been a little more organic, but we get to see all the female heroes kind of band together to help out Spider-Man for a second, and they kind of show why they don't need no man. But again, I wish it was a little more organic, why all of a sudden all the women were in one section and there were no other guys to help Spider-Man. But it was still kind of cool, maybe something to lead forward into an A-Force movie, which I'm not against. I just want it to be organic. I don't want things forced down my throat, whether they're macho chauvinistic or PC and SJW. I don't want anything shoved down my throat. I just want it to be organic, how most of the MCU has been. That's why it's been so successful. It's been slow and organic and methodical and just working its way to these moments. To just shoehorn people in and things in is where we start kind of like, whoa, pump your brakes. We don't want that. We don't know if we want that. Maybe we do. Maybe it'll be the greatest movie ever. Maybe she's the greatest character ever, but just ease her in there. So that's, I guess, where I have my issues. But again, it was a great, cool scene to see all the females. Wish She-Hulk could have been a part of that. Or maybe, maybe some of the X-Men or Sue. But obviously, none of the X-Men, none of the Fox characters show up in this film. Unfortunately, there's also no end credit scene, but there is an end credit sound. Some say it's a sound of things to come. I think it's more of a sound of where we came from. The last sound of the film is we get to hear Iron Man's clinking while he's making what sounds like to me his first suit when he's in the cave in the Mark 1, if you will, in the cave in Iron Man 1 when he was held hostage. That's what it sounds like to me. Some people's like, no, it's someone else building a next model. Cool thing, after Tony passes away, they do hold a funeral, which shows how impactful losing a comrade should be. Unfortunately, I wish they would have done the same for Black Widow, or mentioned it at all, or held a joint thing. Or maybe the funeral, though it was really low-key and it was just all the closest people, the Avengers and whatnot, maybe it should have been a bigger, grander thing. This guy just sacrificed his life to save everyone, because now Thanos' plan was to get rid of reality, not just snap 50% of the people out. He was getting rid of everything there ever was. Okay, so I think being a little more of a memorial to him would have been a little cooler, or maybe just a memorial to all the fallen soldiers and have him be a part of it, maybe see a statue or something, would have been really cool. But it's still taking it down and being a little more intimate with it was good as well. We get to see the boy from Iron Man 3 show back up. He's actually in the movie twice. He was the kid on the bike, I believe, and the kid here at the end. Obviously, he was a huge fan of Iron Man. Some people are like, oh, now he's going to be the next Iron Man, or he's going to be Iron Lad. But who knows? We also remember the Time Stones, or the Infinity Gems, had to go back in time to the exact moment they were taken in order not to affect those timelines. Cap is the one that goes ahead and does that. Also, another one of the most badass parts, okay, Mjolnir is called back. Okay, Thor has both Stormbreaker and Mjolnir. That was badass. But when Cap picks up Mjolnir and just beats the snot out of Thanos, and he's basically almost soloing Thanos because of how good of a combatant he is, plus his shield. I mean, there's a moment where he throws his shield, Thanos ducks it as the shield is flying. He throws the hammer, he ducks the hammer, it bounces off the shield, bops him in the back of the head. I literally almost backflipped out of my seat when I saw that. There is so much to take away, especially from the ending of this movie. So guys, all in all, most badass movie I've ever seen in my life. Go see it. You have no reason not to. If you need the funds, man, let's do an Indiegogo for you, man. If you need $10 to go see this movie, okay, jump on Facebook. Let's start an Indiegogo for you because you need to see this movie. If you're a fan of the MCU, there's no reason you shouldn't have seen this movie this week. Okay, now I know everywhere's sold out, so if you haven't seen it, there's no reason you shouldn't see it starting Monday. Let's go, guys. Go out there, see this movie. Rating of this movie, a 10 out of 10. I know our star ratings only go to 5, but I'm giving this movie a 10 out of 10 because it was the best thing I have ever seen in my life. Is it my favorite movie? I don't know, but I know it's the most epic movie I have ever seen in my life. Guys, go see it. Let us know in the comments below again, guys, if you want us to do some sort of three-way to talk about this movie with you guys. There's just so much. I wanted to do like as much of a scene by scene of a breakdown, but there's just so much for one person to unpack. And this video is already 20 minutes long, guys. So I could have made this an hour and gone through every scene and still been like, oh, I forgot. Oh yeah, we go back here. Oh yeah, we go back there. So guys, thank you so much for just waiting and biding your time for us to get you this review, guys. And guys, if you can, go ahead and Hulk smash the hell out of that like button. Professor Hulk smash it like you mean it. And guys, until next time, I'm C-Dubs, and I'll see you in the universe. Peace.